Bros fans, what's going on? October can't come soon enough, to be honest with you. NFL's around the corner. I'm a big NFL guy, but I like two TVs on, and the Timberwolves are always on the second TV instead of two NFL games. So, October, let's get here. Let's get going. I don't know if you guys are following the Russell Westbrook saga. I've talked about him. Let's avoid him. He's helped our team by being off the team more than he's helped it by being signed and possibly, if that makes any sense. He's I think he's already done more off the team than he ever would on the team. So let's keep him unsigned. But the Kings are a team to watch in this whole saga of Russell Westbrook. That's his name. They're a team to watch in this whole saga because they're looking to sign him, but with where they're sitting and who they have, they're looking to move Devin Carter, point guard, draft pick from a few years ago. Spent some time with both. Oh, no, that's Jevin Carter I'm thinking of. Not too familiar with Devin Carter other than his time on the Kings, and he's been serviceable, is what I'd call him. He's a point guard. So if they're looking to move him, trade him, it seems like the Wolves could be a good landing spot there. Um, we need a point guard that is serviceable, I'd say. We're looking at one more spot. We'll get to that, and a contract that is coming up probably at the end of the show. But in terms of Devin Carter, I think it would be a good move to get a guy like him in the door. He's young, experienced, like I said, serviceable. We're not looking for a guy who can come in and drop 20 points. If he can do that occasionally, that'd be awesome. Kind of like Nikhil Alexander Walker. But we need a guy in the door that can facilitate the offense a little bit when we don't have the guys who can on the court. So I think he'd be a good option. If they're looking to move him, we could get him pretty cheap, probably a couple seconds, and maybe we'll toss him like a Leonard Miller or someone like that. Makes a lot of sense to me. Let me know if he's someone you guys would even want on the team. It makes sense to me, but a lot of people aren't really for it. A lot of people, I just read a comment because I was reading back some comments on old videos. Someone said that Nas should be playing at the two. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm sure he can, I'm sure he moves like a guard, but we can't play Nas at the two. That is a bonkers idea. It'd be cool, but no, that's not happening. We do need one more guard in the door to fill out the rotations. But let's move on. That's enough about Devin Carter. If we get him, great. If we don't, world goes on. That's kind of how I see this trade. But tell me if this one is crazy. I cooked up a trade with the Blazers. Now, obviously, the Timberwolves are looking to save a little money. We've talked about it plenty. We do sit pretty high up in the tax side of things. So if we could find a deal that would save us some money and get us some more players, fill out some depth and whatever, well, we could probably cut some guys too, like Leonard Miller and whoever. If it's not obvious, I'm not a Leonard Miller guy. But obviously, if we were going to trade someone who's worth a lot, that would have to be Rudy Gobert. I think his role is going to become more redundant than ever on the team, unfortunately. Between Baron J will be coming into his own very quickly in the league, I have a feeling, and Naz Reid can't continue to come off the bench in the depth that he is. So we need to kind of move Rudy and his $35 million a year, which is only going to go up year after year. So this team, their trade with the Blazers, we would be getting back 3 players for Rudy. And those players, we'd be getting a point guard, which is goal number 1. It's a guy that the Blazers don't really seem to trust, and Dame's going to be coming back next year, so why not get them Rudy, and they can make a run for it one more time with Blaze and the rest of the guys. Blaze? With Dame and the rest of the guys. I'm really stumbling over words today. I'm sorry, guys. But we'd be getting Scoot Henderson, Donovan Clingan, and Denny Avija, or however you want to say his name. I've heard his name said so many different ways. Denny Avija, Donovan Clingan, and Scoot Henderson for Rudy Gobert. It makes a lot of sense when you start to think about it. It gives us another young center in Donovan Clingan. The Blazers are buried in depth for centers, or at least they were before they got rid of DeAndre Ayton. But I'm like their team. Let's take a quick look here because I'll be honest, I don't totally. Yeah, they got Duke Reith and Robert Williams. Like Yeah, they're going to be wanting to either start Klingen or move on and try to find a starter center that can kind of make one more run with Drew Holiday and Dame and those guys in the coming year. Denny is a guy that can come in and facilitate as well. He's a small forward, and I think he would really fit in with our team. He wouldn't be asked to do a ton, and I think that's why he looked so good on the Blazers last year. Is his role increased, but he also the pressure was off of him finally. Obviously, there was no pressure on the Wizards, but it's the Wizards. Um, and then Scoot Henderson, another young point guard. Why not give him a year or two under Conley? Let's see what he can do. I mean, he's a top pick. Imagine pairing him with Ant if they're both. If like Scoot could come into his own, him and Ant could be a dangerous duo for the next 10 plus years. I really like this trade for the Timberwolves. Makes a lot of sense to me to get three youngish guys in the door. They kind of fit the timeline a little better than Rudy is starting to. I like Klingon. I think he can improve a lot, but I think also being on a team like this would help him improve better than sitting in the depth of Portland. Portland also has Young Hansen, so they're going to be really looking to move one of these centers at some point. So let's go get Donovan Klingon from them and help them make their decision. Moving right along here. Anthony Edwards has been in China, guys, and he was on a tour. This tour was so ridiculous. I was following it on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere they were posting. I don't know if you guys saw. Someone gave him a Labubu in an Anthony Edwards Adidas jersey. It was the most ridiculous thing I've seen. Labubus in general are ridiculous and not going to get into it, but the memes surrounding him, very funny. He was really enjoying his time in China, and it's becoming more and more obvious that he's the type of player who wants to ascend beyond the basketball world. He wants to kind of be that culture icon that obviously LeBron, Kobe, MJ, whoever else you want to throw in there, he wants to be the next one of them. To people are wearing his stuff off the court more than they are on the court. Um, eh, on the court, but obviously, like the other guys have become a brand. Like Jordans are great on court shoes, whatever, but Jordans are definitely more of an off court shoe and brand anymore than ever. Like so, I think that's kind of where Ant wants to be, and it makes a lot of sense for him and his brand to do so. He's definitely Adidas' most marketable athlete at this point. They do have guys signed like Trae Young still, I believe, is signed there. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, and while they're great, they're not 24 years old anymore. Like they're each coming into their own, but I don't think we're going to be sitting here wondering if Trae Young is going to be having an MVP season anytime soon. Trae Young's a great player. Donovan Mitchell's a great player. He definitely could have an MVP season. James Harden is obviously not James Harden anymore, but I don't remember them ever going this strong for someone's marketing like Ants, giving him a solo tour and calling it the. Oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of the tour. He had a whole name for this tour though. I, oh, it's the Believe That tour. I put it right here in my own notes. I almost forgot it. Yeah, he went the Believe That tour. They gave a name for him just going overseas and marketing to a foreign market. Incredible stuff. It is. I'm really happy for Ant, and it's great to see. It's great to see this because he's going to come back and realize that he is the player that he's wanted to be and play like that. Because I feel like he struggled with that for a little bit. He had an idea of who he wanted to be in the league, but he wasn't playing up to that standard. And the last 2 seasons now, we've kind of seen that standard grow, and there's less flat games. He doesn't kind of roll over in some big moments, and it's a big step forward for him. So, I believe that tour was awesome. Really loved all of the stuff that come out of it, and I hope that we see more of it in the season, to be honest, because it's pretty funny. Lastly, today, we talked about getting Devin Carter, which would be a great point guard for the Timberwolves to have throughout the season. He's a serviceable guy, veteran experience. Unfortunately, it sounds like Bones Highland is getting a contract, which does fill out that last roster spot. It sounds like they're working on a new deal for him. I don't know what that deal would be. Obviously, he was on a two-way last year, so we could assume that would be a veteran's minimum. Veterans taken lightly there. He's been around in the league. That's, like he's been in the league. He's never really got a chance outside of a couple times in both LA and on the Nuggets, but obviously they cut him because he wasn't developing into what they want him to be, and he's only getting older every year. So if he can come to the Timberwolves and be serviceable, like I know Devin Carter or Malcolm Brogdon or even Landry Shamet could be, I want Bones over Shamet, but if he can come in and be that type of player, let's do it. Let's get him on a deal, at least 2 years. He can mentor Rob. Like I think they're both kind of undersized guys. I'm not from. I don't. I think Bones is smaller. I don't totally know. I guess that might be a lie now that I say that out loud. But I think he would be a good mentor for him. But like Conley's kind of the level-headed one. Bones is the fast-paced player from what I've seen from his highlights and whatever. I think you'd be a fine guy to be on the team. I think he'd be a bench mob guy. I don't see him being anything more than that. He's still point guard 3. We got to get Rob some minutes, and those should not be eaten up by a guy like Bones Highland. Just my opinion. Just my opinion, truly. But let me know what you guys think of that. Let me know if that makes any sort of sense to you. And that's all I got for you today. Timberwolf to end today's episode. Let's go with the guy who never played a single minute, but he was traded for Rudy Gobert. That is Leandro Balmero. Take care, guys. See you on the next one.